Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, human beings of all ages, welcome to Vibrations with Vito. I am your host, Vito. This is episode 82. I hope you're feeling real good. You deserve it. It's almost the holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody who celebrates. This is my first episode at the age of 26. If you did not wish me a happy birthday, I'm going to pretend like I'm not upset about it. Just kidding. I do feel good, though, so I appreciate everybody who is watching, listening. The message of the week, got to give you the message of the week, and it's from the late, great DMX, who shares a birthday 3 days after mine. Doesn't share it with me, excuse me. But it's a very direct message. He says, "Seek, and you shall find. Accepting failure is the only crime. Fall down 8 times, get up 9. So, get up. Try it again. Don't give up. It's going to be all right. So just keep trying, keep plugging away. But, rest in peace to the dog DMX. From one legend to another legend, a worldwide legend to the local legend, I am accompanied by a very special guest. If you hear his voice, you know the face behind the voice. But we got to get to the face. This man is a legend, a pillar in the community. One of my favorite teachers of all time. He's as humble as they come, but we got to put that to the side today because we got to give him his flowers. The one and only Richard Papiro.
Vito, I am quite humbled and very honored that you've asked me to come and sit in with you and just to chat about life. Is it your birthday today?
It was the 15th.
The 15th.
Yes, of December. I appreciate it.
Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
26.
Yes. Getting old.
I wish I was 26 again. But at the age of 72, I feel pretty good. And as I just said, I'm deeply honored to be your guest this afternoon.
First off, you look good. 72, we don't believe you. We need to see the receipts.
My wife always would like to see the receipts as well, so especially being retired.
Yeah, so how is that? When did you officially retire?
From teaching, I believe this is my 9th year out of teaching.
Wow.
2015 was my last year. I did go back to Common and worked with Mr. Pat Donlin, the athletic director. I was the assistant athletic director for 5 or 6 years. And recently, this is my 3rd year not doing that. Coach Jeff Manto, former major leaguer, took over the baseball program at Common, and he asked myself and a few of the other retired head coaches to come back and assist. Last year I did that. I was a volunteer and was excited to be back, especially around Jeff Manto and his fantastic baseball leadership skills. And it was very, very enjoyable.
Good.
Not sure about this year. I'm going to be going through shoulder surgery.
Oh.
January 15th, and it'll take me some time to recover, but it'll also give me a chance to reflect and to do an awful lot of reading and learn my Italian
there you go.
A lot better.
I like that. Right or
come stai?
Benito. The right or left shoulder?
It's the right. It was the one that I used to throw baseballs and hurl whatever needed to be hurled throughout my ages.
So you were an ace on the mound is what I'm hearing.
I wasn't an ace on the mound. I pitched batting practice every single day, and I certainly played college baseball and used that right arm as an infielder, outfielder. 1973 graduate of what was then LaSalle College, and I have a strong love for that university now, as well as I do Common Catholic, which is my alma mater, Bishop Egan.
Tower of Strength.
Yep.
I'll never forget it. It was no. Continue. I feel like I cut you off.
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, I was blessed to have you as a teacher my freshman year. Did you always taught freshmen at Egan?
I did. Freshman, and then I had the Global Studies elective course for mostly seniors, and there were some juniors who would fill out the roster for that course.
Okay. All right. Well, before we continue, we need to get to the tradition here on the show. You wanted to schedule this podcast for 10:30 in the morning until I reminded you that we drink wine here. You're like, okay, let's take it 1:30. So that's good. It's fine by me. Before we get to the point, we got to shout out the sponsor of the show. Lo Duca Pizza, the best pizza in New York, period. I don't care where you go. It's in Brooklyn, New York, to be specific. But Lo Duca Pizza, 718-859-1501. 718-859-1501. 14 Newkirk Plaza, Brooklyn, New York. Shout out to everybody at Lo Duca Pizza. They provided me with this electric bottle opener, and that's what we're about to do now.
So that's where your family began their pizza?
So Lo Duca Pizza is my uncle, my dad's brother.
Okay.
My dad has a pizza shop in Trenton, New Jersey, 38 years. I don't know how long Lo Duca Pizza has been in Brooklyn, but I would assume a long time as well. But they are, if I always say that, if you're going to New York, go to Brooklyn, they're the best. Do you know the Dave Portnoy, the guy who reviews pizzas by any chance?
Not at all.
Okay, well, he does Barstool Sports. He's a big deal in the social media world, but he actually went to my uncle's place, and he gave it a really good review. He gave it like 8.4, I think.
Fantastico.
Yeah, there you go. So, folks, put your volume up. Time for the pour. Fantastic. That's for you, my friend.
Grazie.
Okay. I appreciate you very much. Cheers.
Cheers.
No pressure, okay? I like to drink a lot of wine. So you don't have to keep up with me. Some people think they have to. I want you to be comfortable. Moral of the story. Okay.
I'm a wine sipper.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I'm actually, I don't know if it's notorious. I chug wine from time to time. I'm not going to do it today. We're going to stay classy today. But I'm fairly good at that, unfortunately.
Chugging wine?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when.
Isn't wine supposed to be savored?
Yes. Yes. You're absolutely correct. But I don't know. I'm a little nutty. But okay, so some people, most of the people that tune in, I would say they have the privilege to say that they were taught by you. And I want to take this time to just say how important you were to the school, to me specifically, because you taught freshmen, so like young men and young women on the verge to become, adults, and you were a big part of that process. I want to say you really cared about your craft, your job, your career, and that means a lot. I want to say thank you again, just for everything you instilled into me, some values, some things you taught about me, taught about yourself to me. I want to say that you kind of taught me that it's okay for a man to show emotion. And I mean that in the most uplifting way. Like, we're taught as men that we have to, like, kind of keep everything in. You can't let anyone know what you're feeling. And you were never afraid to show if something bothered you, which I, as a man now, I learned that then because I saw it from you when, you're supposed to put on this brave face, and that's not how you deal with things. You have to deal with things head on. And I want to say thank you for showing me that as a young man. I wasn't a man yet, but you really did that for me, and you were just a pillar in the community. My sisters both had you, and they're ancient. You know what I mean? They're in their they're
I'm sure they'll be glad to hear that.
No, I know they will be. But yeah, it's just like you were there for I don't know how many years that you were there. We'll get to that, but you were there for so long. And that means something, why you were there for so long. Some people do stints like, a year, and then I did 3 years here. You were there for so long, and that shows a lot of consistency, that you had the trust of the staff, and you were just, like I said, a pillar of the community. So on behalf of everyone that you taught, I'm going to say thank you, and we appreciate you.
Vito, I can't thank you enough for those kind words. But I have to give tribute to the thousands of students who I was privileged to meet and have them grace my classroom for 42 years at North Catholic, Bishop Comwell, Egan. I think back almost every single day on how blessed I was to be in a profession that surrounded itself with so many people. It was funny, my wife and I, we flew to Florida for our family Christmas party.
Nice.
And as I walked to our boarding area, I heard the cry out, "Mr. Papirio." And my wife said, we can't go anywhere without you running into somebody that is willing to call out your name, shake your hand, embrace you, give you a hug. And I'm thankful for that. It certainly wasn't about a salary. It wasn't about what benefits I would get out of life. I was a graduate of Egan in 1969, and I was blessed to have a teacher by the name of Mr. Joseph Coleman, who was my baseball coach. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I wasn't sure. I was kind of a shy, quiet, innocent little kid and very, very nervous. And watching him as an educator gave me the idea that, someday I would love to become a teacher, a baseball coach, a coach. And it happened. I student taught at Bishop McDevitt High School, and the first few days in the classroom, I realized how much those young men and women appreciated me being there at the age of 21, some of which invited me to their prom, which wasn't appropriate at that time. And that's certainly when I had a full head of hair and had a little bit more, appreciation for looks. So I was very blessed. And being a baseball coach, I assisted at Bishop Egan under Cuddy Merrick, and I went for my teaching interview. When I graduated, there were really no jobs open in 1973, and the moment I walked in at the Office of Catholic Education, the gentleman who interviewed me, his name is Mr. John Mooney, a real legend in the Archdiocese, who was the baseball coach at then, it's a closed school now. Oh, see, there's my old timers kicking in.
No, don't worry about it. If they're closed,
But
it's okay.
He walked into the room, and when he saw me, he just looked at me and he said, "This will be no problem." And he shook my hand and he walked out. And I said, "Where'd the interview go?"
That was wow.
And very shortly thereafter, I was contacted by the Archdiocese to come in for an interview at North Catholic High School. Father Guerin was the principal. And in front of me was a gentleman who is still very, very famous at Archbishop Wood, Mr. Joseph Setti. And Joe was a graduate of North, and he said to me, I'm probably going to get the job here. And Joe, good. Congratulations. I'm just happy to be interviewed. And as I went into the office and sat down with Father Guerin reached across the table and said, "I've called over to LaSalle, and my niece, Lori Guerin, who was a friend of mine at LaSalle, gave me all the information I need on you." He said, "You'll be expecting a call probably later this afternoon." And I was floored, and I went home, and I'm saying, "Oh my goodness, I really might get the job at this North Catholic." And then I'd get a call from Pennsbury High School, and they said, "The teacher's going out on pregnancy leave. I'm going to give you the job if you want it. I'll give you a playground opportunity. And I'm going to tell you, she's not going to return. Ooh. So if you're a good enough teacher, this is probably going to be long term. And at that time, I had already accepted at North Catholic. Father Guerin had called. And within minutes, I got a call from University City in Philadelphia, a public high school, which would have certainly been quite a different challenge, who offered me the job. 3 job offers in one day.
Soon the bidding war was starting, huh?
Well, and my answer to Pensbury, because he said to me, well, you haven't started. You could come over here. Nobody's going to hold it against you. I said, but I want to be a man of my word.
Good.
I promised North I would come, sign the contract. And that's where my archdiocesan 42-year career began at North Catholic, with all these 6'10" Polish kids that intimidated the heck out of me. And,
how many years were you at North Catholic?
13. And when I went into North Catholic had 2,800 students. And I mean, the building was mobbed. And over time, over my 13 years, is when you saw the declination in the numbers attending Catholic school. So North went from 2,800 to 1,400, and I was constricted. And I wasn't sure where I was going to end up. I went to the meeting. I had 13 years seniority, so I was the number 2 person to pick. And I look up and I see Bishop Conwell on the board, and I go, "That's the one. That's my neighborhood. It's all girls. It should be easy." So I took Bishop Conwell, and I found out that in my first week, that it wasn't that easy teaching all girls. All the drama that was going on between themselves, and just certainly their maturation process. It was quite a different learning experience. And then we spent the 7 years at Bishop Conwell before we constricted, and I was blessed to be the last social studies teacher hired over at Conwell Egan.
Wow.
And then finished out my 42-year career at my alma mater.
So that had to be special. Not only that, you're able to teach close to home and whatnot, but your alma mater, you were able to be there for majority of your career. But that just had to be special for you. Was it the same building? Was Bishop Conwell? No, right?
Bishop Conwell was when I started as a freshman in high school back in 1965. It was a co-ed school, but the girls were on one side of the school and the boys were on the other side.
Interesting.
And at that time, Bishop Egan was being built where it is currently in Fairless Hills.
Okay.
So, I mean, we did the first half of the year at the old Bishop Egan, and when we left in January of 65, Egan took its name, and Bishop Conwell was named Bishop Conwell. So that I went to one of the first 3.5 classes or years at the new Bishop Egan High School in Fairless Hills, run by the TORs. And I do have to give a shout out to the Third Order Regular.
Go ahead.
The Franciscans were such a great influence in my life. Many of them became my friends over the years. And obviously, recently, in the last 5-6 months, made the trip up to St. Francis in Loretto to say goodbye to Father Fidelis, who everybody remembers as a wonderful gentleman, gentle person,
super kind,
and so kind. And I made that trip to say goodbye to him, and I remember he's one of the few people in my life that certainly I had tears in my eyes as I touched his hand and realized that he certainly was a man who represented godlike features, godlike characteristics. And thank you, Father Fidelis.
I agree.
And to so many of the TORs.
Right.
And my teachers, throughout the years.
Yeah. So that was needed though, because Father Fidelis was great. Another pillar of Comohegan specifically, but the community. So for me, it was you, Mr. Emmons, Mr. Ortiz, Brother Larry. Brother Larry was so important to me. Because, I don't know, times definitely changed when I got to Comohegan, and people were, like, openly mean, I guess, But I just knew how important Brother Larry was and how much he loved what he did. So, again, another...
Vito, that's such a good choice. Brother Larry loved Comohegan.
He really did.
He loved Bishop Egan.
Yeah.
And again, another sad tale, with his passing and everything. He was so brokenhearted when he had to leave and go to Loretto and spend the remainder of his time in Loretto. But he really loved the school. And I used to always like when he got so excited and he'd get flustered and begin to say things and almost begin to stutter. He always made me smile, and God love him, and God rest his and so many other souls.
Yes.
Including so many of the students over the years who certainly passed well before their time.
Right. That we should just have a moment of silence for that. Yeah, some of the best times were, unfortunately, were when Brother Larry would get upset because he would get super animated. I don't remember what lunch it was, what year I had this lunch, but he was the moderator for our lunch. And it was just so sad. It was funny, but sad because, he was trying his best to control things, and he would. But then, sometimes kids are going to be kids, and you can't do everything. And it's just, I thought that was always silly that there'd be one person monitoring a cafeteria full of kids they've been waiting to talk all day. You know what I mean? You can't talk during the classes. Like, well, you can, but now everyone's social. It's, I haven't seen you since first period. Now this is fifth lunch, blah, blah, blah. Those are always the best. So real quick, do you have any memories of when you would monitor anything?
Oh, yeah.
Would you care to share?
Monitoring lunch was so difficult because of the fact that throughout the years, students seemed to care less about the appearance of what mess they left behind. And of course, you always had those that were well-bred and would clean up after themselves, but so often the lunch period would end and there was just trash everywhere. And I remember I would get so irritated. I'd go speak to the table the next day, and you'd get a lot of blank stares. Like, it wasn't wrong. It was there before we came. So what I began to do is get a bag and just collect it, and the next day as they sat down to eat lunch, I just went and dumped it right over their lunches.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I remember how ticked off and irritated they got.
I'm sure.
But I was saying to them, come on,
simple.
A little bit of respect.
Right.
And that's what certainly you always tried to get them, and even from the teacher's viewpoint, respect them. To understand that this is your home. This is your home away from home. And also in the cafeteria, I used to love when there were fights.
Those are the best.
I remember the students cheering me the one day because when I would see a fight, I would just jump up on a table and run down the length of the table and dive on top of the two pundits on the pile and, try to break them up. And I mean, I remember I caught a good punch one time from, I forget who it was, but he caught me across the side of the head and
Two boys?
Whoa. Oh, yeah, that was two boys. The worst was to break up two young ladies.
Oh, for sure.
Because you can't go in there with your hands up.
Right.
And I remember I tried to break up. I can remember their names, and I'll leave them off the list.
Good.
But I went in, and my hands were up, and you go, oh, no, I don't mean to, but you're trying to restrain them, and they were vicious fighters. Out of anybody who fought unfair,
the women.
It was certainly the women. It was incredible.
Scratch and crawl, and they don't care. They're just trying to impose
the coolest
damage.
thing about me when I went to school was this priest, Father Canise, I'll never forget. He came to the back door, and back in those days, you never called out and yelled out, "Hey, yo,
right.
Canise," or so. Out of respect, this one young man, he yelled out to him, and the priest lowered his glasses over his nose, and he goes, "Taraba, you and me after school."
Oh my goodness!
Down in the boys' locker room.
Oh.
And so everybody crowded down there at the end of the day, and we're all excited. What's going on? Father Canise, he's standing. He's just a little, no more than 5'4", 5'5", and Taraba, and he says to him, he goes, "Taraba, I want you to hit me."
Oh my goodness!
And he goes, "Father, I can't hit you." He goes, "No, you disrespected me early. I want you to hit me." And Taraba goes, "Father, I can't hit you." He goes, "I'm going to say it again, Taraba, hit me." Taraba went to bring his hands up, and Father Canise went, connected both the right and the left on Taraba's face, decking him on the floor.
Down goes Taraba.
Down goes Taraba. We picked up Father Canise. We carried him on our shoulders up that ramp to the back of the school. We were cheering, and we left Taraba on the floor.
He deserved it.
Well, what we learned was Father Canise was a Golden Gloves boxer at one time.
Gracious.
And certainly had boxing skills beyond belief, and Taraba had no chance. But those are some of the memories of when I went into school.
If that happened,
and I didn't like subbing. I didn't like subbing in the auditorium. I mean, that was just such a mess. You'd have like 15 teachers out, and you'd have 15 classes trying to give kids assignments.
Everybody's screaming.
Everybody's screaming. They don't care about what the assignment's going to be. You're trying to keep order, and it's not that they disrespected you, but it's like, come on, you serious, pal?
Right.
And it wasn't going to work. Those were some of the worst days. Or even going to a classroom to sub, and you'd go in and you'd give them the assignment. "Oh, we already did this." You get all those lines. Look, and I wasn't born yesterday. Come on, Father. The teacher wants you to complete this assignment, and those were irritating. But as far as having to monitor anything, it was just part of the duty that you had to accept. Nobody liked it, but you did it as part of your schedule as a teacher.
Mm. Yeah, the fights were always good. Being an outsider, I was never involved in any of them.
Thank God.
I was always front and center though, because I wanted a front row ticket all the time. But okay, real quick, any pranks that happened during your tenure at Common League, that you remember, anything like that?
Pranks.
Because I say that because you said your last year at Egan was 2015 teaching. I graduated 16, and I'll say that we did one of the best senior pranks. But I'll get to that later.
Why don't you tell me your prank?
Okay.
Try to dislodge some of the...
Well, I think the statutes of limitations have passed, correct? I can't get in too much trouble. But we were blessed. I'm not going to say names, clearly. Okay. We were blessed with a key that opened every door.
Ooh.
Yeah. And we went through the locker room. That's where there was no cameras. And we were able to spread out from there, but go up the stairwell. And we broke apart. You go to the second floor, you go to the third floor. We didn't do the first because that's where all the cameras were at the time. I'm sure they're all over the place now. But so we broke up, and our mission was just take everything out of the classroom and put it in the classroom. Or, in the classroom and take it out of the classroom, put it in the hallway. We didn't break anything. We didn't cause any damage. That's all we did. So whoever had the key opened each door. We took the beds out of the nurse's office, put it in the hallway.
Wow.
And we left the book open on every page, on every room with page 16 opened.
And that was your class.
And that was that, But somebody did a little false alarm. Somebody's here. And, we all started freaking out. So everybody ran out. And while we ran out, I didn't have my keys. So I'm like, oh my God, I left my keys inside. So I went back in to look for my keys, and I couldn't find my keys. So I'm like, look, I guess I'm going to get caught because they're going to be like, who drives the Honda Civic? So we ran back across the field. My keys were in the dugout. I never brought them in. So once we ran past the dugout, I saw my keys, and I was able to get my keys. But that next day, boy, it was silence. But like a good silence. They threatened that we weren't going to get our cap and gowns. And I'm like, everyone hold tight. They're going to give it to us. And we had one person almost snitch on everybody, but she was able to collect herself, and she didn't let the word get out. But so we didn't cause any damage. It was just a silly, funny prank, but it took everyone a little bit to put everything back in. And everyone else was mad at us because they had to, like the students had to bring the desk back into the room.
They had to assist the criminals.
That's right. So, it was a good, fun prank. Nobody got hurt. And
my best prank, I guess, was as baseball coach, we had a game on a particular day. Can't remember the day. My wife had gone down to Florida to visit her mother. I was home alone, and I get up to go out to school, and outside on my patio is home plate. They had dug up.
Wow.
And I mean, it was 6 inches of concrete,
right.
Heavy weighted.
Wow.
And I'm going, are you kidding me? Home plate. So I go into school. I talk to somebody. They were going to come pick it up and bring it. But I look out, and at home plate is this tree that they had dug up and planted right where home plate should be.
See, that's funny.
So I know, and the year's probably 2007, 2000, I think. But I remember, okay, they're going to be really, really watching how I react to this.
Right.
So I took an old baseball hat, and I walked out on my break, and I could feel all the eyes in the windows. Mm. And I walked down to the field, and at home plate, I just put a hat on top of the tree.
That's nice.
And I turned around, and I started walking back, and I looked up into the windows, and then you could just see all their faces like, oh my God, he didn't freak out.
Good move.
Which was, at that time, it was a perfect move. But now the prank that my son's class pulled, the class of 1999, where they went out and they had the scavenger hunt. I don't know if you guys were involved in stuff like that,
no.
But this scavenger hunt made the front page of the Courier.
Oh, boy.
There was just materials everywhere. The police had rounded everybody up, cited everybody, ticketed everybody. But it was a mess. And I remember before my son went out, I said to him, okay, I know this is a prank scavenger night, but don't you do anything. Oh, Dad, I'm not going to do anything like that. The good son that he was. And, well,
what a liar.
All of a sudden, the next day when it's on the front page, I remember he was asleep. I rolled the paper up. I swatted him across the top of the head. Oh, weren't going to do anything, huh? So I found out, obviously, all the boys were suspended. The girls weren't, because the girls, kind of...
they were at home.
They cooperated. Oh, no, the girls were members of that event.
A couple informants.
But they all cooperated with the... disciplinarian at the time, so the boys were all suspended out of school, and I remember I was just so irritated. So I said, "What did you do? What did you take?" And what I did, I took him and a friend, and I drove him to every place that he took something.
Ooh.
And they had to knock on the door, say what they did, and replace
like that.
what they had done. I remember they stole a pumpkin off a porch in Bristol, and the little girl was so upset. I made him sit down with the little girl and carve out a new pumpkin.
Good man.
And I went to another guy's house. They stole his mailbox. And big, tall guy chewing tobacco, spit on the floor. He goes, "You're one hell of a dad doing this. But you know what? I don't care about that. I don't give a shit about that." There's your curse word. And he just said, "But you're a good man to come out and do it this way." And I kind of thought that, I, as a parent, handled it the best that I could, but they also had to be punished by the school,
right.
And there were all kinds of possibilities that they wouldn't be able to go to proms or attend other senior events, which were very important. But
right.
As it turned out, it's part of life, and kids are going to be kids, and I always knew that kids were going to be kids.
Right.
At North Catholic, I remember the seniors upstairs. They got a hold of this big stuffed tiger. And I'm teaching, and I'm showing a video one day, and outside my window, we just see the image of this tiger dangling and flashing out the window, and all the kids going crazy, and you just saying, you know what? Kids are going to be kids.
That's right.
Kids are going to do things that seem at that time appropriate or funny or humorous. And,
harmless, yeah.
And harmless, right. And sometimes they are. Most times they are, and sometimes they're not. I mean, I know in college the dumbest thing that I ever did was to, as a fraternity brother, pledging a fraternity, we got a hold of this guy that we kind of he was just breaking our backside,
explicit,
and. So I bought sleeping pills. The other guy bought a bottle of vodka.
Oh, boy.
And we put the sleeping pills in the vodka, and not realizing that, we could have killed him.
Right, you roofied him.
And so, of course, he was all slobbered up. But what we had done, a friend of mine lived in Chicago from LaSalle, and he had a one-way train ticket to Chicago. And what we did after we got this guy plastered and inebriated and incoherent, we loaded him up in a car. We drove him down to the Broad Street station. And when the train pulled in, we put him on with a one-way ticket to Chicago. No money, nothing. We told the conductor his mother had died. And,
oh, my goodness gracious.
It was horrible what we did.
This story went up and down and up and down.
And he woke up, I think, somewhere on his way out. And the conductor said, "I'm really sorry about your mom." And he goes, "My mom? What do you mean, my mom?
What happened to her?"
And then we had to go and attend his wedding in June, which his mom and dad were not too happy to meet us at the time.
Well, he was breaking your backside, so at the end of the day, it was his fault first.
Again, some of the things that you do, the choices you make are not always the brightest, but
life is about learning lessons.
Without a doubt.
Right. You said kids will be kids, but life is about learning lessons. My question to you is, what is a lesson that you learned later in life that you wish that you learned earlier?
I think about that a lot now, Vito, is I really wish that I appreciated more my profession. I was passionate. I do appreciate it. But I sit back and I reflect so often on all the good people that I was so fortunate to meet. And I just wish in that moment that I was able to show greater appreciation for what really is a tremendous profession, and certainly I wouldn't change that for anything in my life. But I think the lesson, like you just asked me, is that you can you really appreciate in the moment what benefits or what glories or what what a great environment that you are in. So if I could go back, when I run into so many students today and they say hello and I'm glad to be remembered, I say thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for allowing me to share time and spend time with you.
So. Hindsight is always 20/20, but I agree. Showing appreciation, I often say that here. Showing appreciation for people who are in your life when they're in your life. Not, you go 10 years without talking to someone. Now you're appreciative of what they were or how they were when they were with you. No, you should try to focus on showing them that now in the moment, like you said. Appreciation for things, people. Just appreciate things and people before it's too late, So I like that. Appreciation for people in the now instead of in the later.
It's kind of strange. I don't know what it is. When I travel, no matter where I travel, there always seems to be a moment where God has intervened, or there's a special moment that somebody recognizes some beauty in you. A couple years ago, all my cousins had come down from Massachusetts to New York to go to a Phillies-Yankees game. We all gathered together.
Go Phils!
And we're driving. Yeah, we're riding the subway, and there's a gentleman who is certainly a street person. Looks disheveled, and he has a bag of popcorn, and the popcorn's all over him. It's in his beard, it's on him. And I'm standing there, and he taps me on the shoulder, and he says, "Would you like some?" And my cousin's sitting across the aisle, and he goes, "This happens everywhere we go with you. Somebody sees something in you that they want to touch or be a part of." Right. And those are the greatest moments in my life that I realize that I always thought I was compassionate. I always thought that I cared about everybody, from the strongest to the weakest, from the tallest to the shortest. It didn't make any difference. And I thank my mother for instilling that value in me, and I will always be that way. I love people. I think sometimes I try to go overboard to, I don't even know what the right word is, but that's all. And the best response to me always is thank you. Nothing more important than thank you.
That's why I wanted to start with thank you, because you were important to me, for sure, specifically me, but I know a lot of other people as well. Like, your impact, I think that's what you were trying to say, like, go above and beyond to try to make an impact. Some people are just shut off to that. They don't want to let anybody in to try to help. It's just me. And I always noticed that about you, that if you saw somebody struggling with anything, the subject itself that you were trying to teach, or with themselves, you would go above and beyond to try to make that difference and impact for them. And that is something that is important and vital, is maybe the better word, for kids, just kids in general, but young adults, that man who was offering you that popcorn, like that effort and just people to people interaction. We're getting away from that, unfortunately, with these silly cell phones and social media and stuff like that. We just need people to people interaction and people caring for other people.
I agree.
I don't know if there's
the
lack of that.
It's the key to peace and prosperity in the world.
Humanity.
Humanity, caring for other people.
Right.
And truly loving your neighbor as thyself. Certainly, we've all been taught that. It's very difficult, as you said, to think that way in this materialistic world. But without a doubt, the most important thing is take care of your brothers and sisters. And it will come back tenfold. And in my life, to address your thank you, it has come back to me tenfold.
Amazing.
I mean, it's not all good, positive responses. There's certainly
that's life.
People that didn't like my approach, didn't like me.
Right.
That's understood.
Yeah.
But I truly was so blessed to be able to be an educator and to be a part of so many people's lives. So thank you all, and I mean that sincerely.
Yeah, this is I really wanted to do this for quite some time, and I kind of was like, nah, maybe he would be uncomfortable, blah, blah, blah. And then that one specific day, I was just like, I'm going to take a drive, a 32-second drive. And
wait, you drove to my house?
I did. It was cold. It was freezing. It's December. So, yeah, I knocked on the door. Was it your daughter who answered?
My daughter-in-law.
Oh, daughter-in-law. Well, shout out to her. Because I said, I'm here for Mr. Papirio. Is he here? And she was like, which Mr. Papirio? I was like, the older one?
Oh, okay.
I was like, she's probably thinking, I don't know if you had a daughter and a son. So I was like, the older one? She was like, okay, sure. Oh, that was funny. But no, you're the best. I want to, tell you that. My sisters both wanted me to tell you. They said hello. They're going to tune into the episode, but they wanted to say hello. I told you off camera that my sister is dating Tom Monagle. Shout out to
hello, Tom.
I know he listens.
And sister.
Yes. So, just you've impacted so many people's lives. I want to say thank you one more time from all of them, to you. I asked, my last guest was somebody I think you definitely taught, but was also a colleague of yours at one time, Pat McCarthy.
Oh, yes.
Yes, he was, I don't know how long he coached, or not coached, well, he definitely coached.
Soccer.
Yes,
soccer
but
player.
I think he taught at Egan as well. I don't remember. I think he was a teacher.
For some reason, I want to say yes.
Okay, I don't recall. He's going to text me and say, oh, it's 2 years. Anyway, but I asked him this question because he's a teacher. I asked him, has he noticed anything from when he began teaching in students? Has he noticed something from his beginning of his teaching career to where he is now? And I would ask you, from the beginning of your career to the end of your career, did you notice anything or any change in students, the way they carry themselves, the way they respect for other people, anything that you noticed?
Well, Vito, that's a great question, and the answer is yes. From the beginning, certainly in 1973 when I began to teach, the appearance of the student that attended the classroom, the respect of the student that attended the classroom, the faculty impressions of students that attended the classroom, all of those have changed. There's certainly, and a lot of students do care about their appearance,
Right.
but so many, when they put on the uniform, didn't care that it represented, and we'll use Kamal Egan
Right.
as the example, didn't care that you were making an impression in the community that others are going to evaluate. People do that. They look at you, your shirt's hanging out, your pants,
It's
aren't
sagging a little
up,
bit.
you're not wearing a belt, your shoes
Untied.
or your so often students had the ripped shirts. You guys know that was different.
Yeah.
They cut the shirt in half. The girls' leggings with tears, and you just it was bewildering. The fact, And I agree with you also. You know, telecommunications today and technology is just changed the entire environment, because they're new God for so many.
Yeah.
And, you know, I talk to my granddaughters about this all the time. Put the phone down.
Yeah.
When you're talking to somebody, look them in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Speak to them.
I agree.
Don't look down and be,
Right.
you know, quickly texting or tapping on your phone to watch whatever it is. I forget what
TikTok, Instagram. It's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Is what it is.
And again, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying I think if we're ever going to resolve issues in our worlds, communication is so important. And I always said, you built a wall to shut me out. I drew a circle to pull you in.
Ooh, I like that.
And I always believed in that. I didn't want, and I can understand the walls being put up and the defensive mechanisms, but it's okay. I can draw that circle and still be a part and keep trying to make a difference. And certainly, a good example is certainly, you know, my son and his wife and his struggles. That's what we've done. My wife and I, and my cousin, who's a missionary. I mean, when we went to Rome and to Italy, I think I went into every church and I prayed and prayed and prayed and just prayed for newfound direction. And, you know, in the last couple of years, there's been a great change to the positive. And speaking to my cousin, he said, faith in God, the faith in God. There is truth in that. So I believe.
I love that. I think we've also shied away from that too. God, above everything. I like to make it a point on this show that God is the most important thing. I'm a man of God. That'll never change. And I think the youth has gone away from that. The idea of God, even, they think it's an idea. For me, it's a big problem. It's not an idea. It's real. You know, the Pledge of Allegiance, I think, didn't they take that out? Mm-hmm. That's an issue for me too, but, you know, we've gotten soft as a society in the world, especially here in America. But would you just... You're a very insightful, wise man. I know you're very humble, but I hope you take these words I'm saying. Can you offer some advice for the youth? Just anything you could think of, anything that you think could be helpful for the youth in general.
Well, I used to always say, again, to all my classes, let your reach extend beyond your grasp. That you have so much greater value as an individual than you can ever imagine. And when you invest yourself and you're passionate about what you're doing, that enriches your environment. It enriches you as a person, and it allows yourself to have that self-respect that I think so many people are lacking. Just not feeling that they're the most important individual in the world and that they have a value that is much greater than themselves. So, you know, when you look at yourself in the mirror, just realize beyond that exterior vision that you're looking at, there is so much that should be inside of you that can be so much beneficial to the world that we live in. And enjoy the world you live in and be a part of the world you live in. Don't let the world pass you by. You know, be a participant. Don't stand on the sideline.
Stop scrolling on the phone. Pick your eyes up, right? Like you just said, don't let the world pass you by. And the more they stand and stare and scroll, the world's going this way, so I like that.
Yeah, don't be a spectator. Participate.
I like that. I like that a lot. Thank you for that. Oh, we just got super deep. I like that. I don't remember the exact cause of anything, but I remember in my freshman year, you took some time away, and I have saved this email that we shared back and forth since 2013, and I don't remember why you took time away. I don't know if you were not feeling that well, but I remember we had the worst substitute in the history of substitute teachers ever.
No names.
I'm not. Of course not. I will never say his name. But he said shh so much. That's all he kept saying, shh. So there would be somebody in class that would do the shh-o-meter, and we would just tally. Anytime he just kept saying shh. He was terrible. Anyway. But I remember why we had I remember us having this substitute because you were not present. But I want to read the email that we sent back and forth. Look at this, Richard Papiro right here, right there, boom. So you said, Vito, I wish to thank you for the note that you dropped off at my home. You and Nikki, as well as many others, made my coming home special. CEC is about the love that people share amongst themselves and their community, and so many have made me feel loved. I will never forget that kindness. For a young man, you are a man. Best always, Mr. Papirio. And I responded within an hour. I said, Mr. Papirio, I am glad that note made you feel loved, because truly everybody loves and adores you. I hope you are feeling better and recovering well. We all love and miss you. Sincerely, Vito. Keep in touch.
Those are the treasures, Vito, of being a teacher.
Good. And that's,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're okay. I just I recall you not feeling up to par, not I don't know if it was health related, but just I think I recall you just being let me not say you, my classmates being disengaged, and that bothering you to an extent, which I understand, I still understand. And I remember me and Nikki feeling the most this is not cool. We should speak up for other people. And I remember we had lunch together that year, and so we just sat down, we wrote something, and I was like, well, he lives in my neighborhood, so I'll hand deliver it to him. So I remember doing that because I felt like you needed to know how appreciated and loved you were and still are. And I've always kept that email. That is the only marked email that I have, and I'll never delete that. So thank you. From all of us, so I hope you do know that you were and still are loved and appreciated.
I can't even find the correct words other than the fact that I continue to say to all my students in the past, I truly was blessed. I thank you. I love you all. The greatest hope for me as I sit here is that all of your lives are in order, that there's peace, joy in your life, and that you continue to just keep moving forward successfully in the direction that God intended for you the day you were born. And you were all very important to me. You will always be important to me. I know I run into students and I know the face. And as I said, as I'm getting older, I may not recall your names, but I love you nonetheless. And I appreciate you even more.
You're the best. I just want to say that you're the best. The most iconic voice. I could be in a room full of people. If I hear you talking, I'm like, get out of my way. That's Mrs. Papirio. You did the football games. Spirit Night was I was huge in Spirit Night. But hearing you doing the sporting events and then saying this is now I'll never forget those moments. You're just so iconic. I want to say that iconic.
Thank you.
So real quick before we sign off, because time's flying when you're having fun. Time flies. So we like to end here usually on a good nice lighthearted note. And this is a segment that we call Riddles with Vito.
Oh no.
So, there's no right or wrong answer, but there really is a right answer. But I just want you to know that your guesses are not frowned upon. Anything that comes to your head, I want you to say it. So again, Riddles with Vito. Look, you used to quiz me back in the day. Now I'm quizzing you.
Payback.
Okay, let me read it here. Make sure I don't stumble on my words. Okay. I am easy to lift, but hard to throw. What am I? I am easy to lift, hard to throw. What am I?
Easy to lift, hard to throw.
Stroking the beard, the non-existent beard.
Spirit?
Ooh, that's good. I could throw my spirit at you. Hard to lift. You can lift spirits.
Okay.
Oh, good.
All right.
Any other guesses?
Failing.
The tables have turned.
Easy to lift. The tables have turned, and
That's
I was. That's a good challenge.
Good.
Are you sure time hasn't run out?
Would you like the answer?
No.
Okay, good.
Easy to lift, hard
take
to
your
throw.
time.
I'm thinking.
It's actually physically easy to lift, and it's actually hard to throw.
Air.
You're sort of on the right track. So.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Stumped him. Cha-ching. I am easy to lift, hard to throw. What am I? A feather. Boom.
That's okay. Light as a feather. There you go.
It's hard to throw it. Can't throw, like 2 yards. Can I actually throw it? Easy to lift, though. Pick it up.
And how long did you ponder that riddle?
That's a good question. So people always ask me, because I usually do the riddles, and they ask me, like, do I actually try to figure them out? Yes, all the time. That one did take a little bit because I was like, is this a metaphor? Like, is it actually going to be something that I can pick up? And I did get it, but it took me a little bit. Because I was like, I'm sitting there. I was sitting by the refrigerator looking out, and I'm looking. I saw a bird fly.
Oh.
So I don't know. Maybe if I didn't see the bird fly, I wouldn't have got it. But I was like, ooh, a feather is easy to pick up and it's hard to throw. And then I looked at it, and I was like, oh, look at that feather.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
So Riddles with Vito strikes again.
Yeah. Like I said, the older I get, the slower I get in response. But
no
that's
way.
okay. I will take that with me.
Quick question: this shirt you have on, do you know by any chance what year this is from? This is I'm talking vintage Commonwealth Catholic. It looks.
I think this is one of the years that I was in the athletic office.
Okay.
And Matt Fisher, the principal at the time, would always send up a gift. And whatever the students were getting, he would give me one of them. So it says Eagles down the sleeve, and Commonwealth Catholic. I am so proud of especially what the school has evolved into today.
Powerhouse.
I mean, I know a lot of us look at that and say, wow, why couldn't it have been that way when we were there with the fields, the auditorium, which is state-of-the-art.
Yep.
Just the fencing around the school, making it look so much more preppy. And that's what we said. If you dress properly, and they have dressed the school properly, the image of Commonwealth Catholic has proven that they've become the best private school in Lower Bucks County the past 3 years.
I agree.
A tribute to the administration, to the Billy Burns, Matt Fishers, Tom Lynch, the Danaher Lynch Foundation, for all the good that you've done to not only save Commonwealth Catholic, but to revive it and to make it a place that people desire to go to. So congratulations, and I'm sure it warms the hearts of many in the lower Bucks County community.
Well said. Well said. You always you speak with intelligence. Always. You always have. You always will be. Always will. Excuse me. We're kind of sort of on a tight schedule. You got plans. I hear you. You're a popular guy. Everybody wants to see you. I could talk to you for hours. I really could, and not get tired of and have a million questions. But I want to say thank you for the time that you shared with me and everybody today. I've told you a million times during this episode, but thank you for not changing, not adapting to the nonsense that was maybe around you when I was in your presence, because I would say that there was a lot of nonsense, but stay true to who you are, your beliefs, your core, and as a man to man, I respect that. Thank you for that.
And Vito, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for being one of the many students who pass through my classroom, and thank you for offering this moment of appreciation, which I will take with me forever, and certainly will put a smile on my face for many, many more days to come.
Great.
I am going out with a friend who is suffering from prostate cancer. We are taking him to dinner this afternoon, and I don't know how many days he has left on this earth, but today you've made my heart joyful, and I will certainly try to pass that on to my friend this afternoon, that's what life is all about. And someday we'll see each other on the other side. Thank you all.
I will keep him in my prayers. God bless him. God bless you. God bless everyone who is watching or listening. Hope you have a great holiday. No matter what you celebrate, you deserve a great, safe holiday. Thanks for tuning in.
Happy holidays to everyone.
Ciao for now.
For whatever beliefs.
That's right. Boom. So that's that. You're the best.
Oh,
You're
thank
the best.
you, man.
You're the best.
Vito.
The best.
Oh.